Can Rockstar Games pull off another Arthur Morgan? How similar will the story of Grand Theft Auto 6, a game that's approximately 1 year away, unless the project gets further delayed, which if it does, there's nothing we can do, just let Rockstar cook. Should the story of GTA 6 even be half as serious and grounded as Red Dead or one of its actual predecessors, GTA 4? These are some questions that I've been thinking about for quite a while now. So, in an attempt to find answers, I've decided to go back when Red Dead Redemption 2 was in its hype cycle before release, and what the general public thought about the game and its protagonist based solely on the footage that was showcased in the trailers. Now, despite there being vastly different opinions on the actual gameplay of RDR2, with some absolutely loving it and others being absolutely bored when playing it, I think most people can agree that the story of this game is unlike anything we've ever seen before from Rockstar and even other gaming companies. Arthur himself is a very complex character that goes through countless adventures and makes choices that ultimately lead to his sickness, and therefore starting his redemption arc, where he sees the error in not just his ways but in the ways of his mentor and father figure, Dutch van der Linde. Another character that has been the center of many debates and analyses over the years, and there's already many great videos breaking down his character, so I won't go too deep into his impact on the story. But in essence, Arthur's illness takes off the blindfold he's been wearing for all the years he's been under Dutch's wing. So when faced with a literal, slow and painful death sentence that's only made worse by the other traumatic events he's been in, like the Guarma chapter, he decides to save the few people he cares about and that deserve a chance at a normal life, which are the Marstons. Regardless of your actions and honor level, all endings lead to the same path. John and his family escaping the gang life, and Arthur dying. Whether honorably on top of a mountain or backstabbed in Beaver Hollow, his ultimate goal is achieved. And that's what mattered to him anyway. I could probably talk about his character for hours on end, but that's not the focus of today's video. Many people have grown to love this fictional cowboy so much and have spent so many hours playing as him that in general, most people forgot how hated and unwanted he was as a protagonist back when the second trailer for RDR2 released. Everybody was asking, "Where's John? I want to play as John. Who's this big and mean looking dude? I don't want to play as him." Yeah, we didn't know any better. And also, the many theories that surrounded his character and his motivations, all based on a few dialogue lines spoken between him and Dutch in the second trailer. While now some of those theories might sound silly and totally not in line with Rockstar's track record, back then people really believed in them and made valid arguments that couldn't really be proved nor disproved, because in reality we were all just guessing. And what I find funny is that some of those theories have resurfaced when the first trailer for GTA 6 premiered over 9 months ago. One of them, and perhaps the most popular one, is the Jason being a cop theory. A theory that people also fabricated for Arthur, although he was believed to be a bounty hunter infiltrating the van der Linde gang and ultimately get to Dutch in order to bring all of them to justice. But that's one of the many theories that were made up back then, along with other ones that weren't as outlandish, like Arthur betraying the gang and us switching to John to then face him and get some sort of revenge similar to American Venom. And some which actually turned out to be true, like a few people correctly predicting that Arthur would sacrifice himself for John and his family, which is really impressive. And the same thing happened for trailer 1, and even more so with trailer 2 when it eventually comes out. Jason being a cop, Lucia being an informant, Tommy Vercetti using a multiverse portal to come from the 3D era to the HD one, you know, the usual. These are all theories that might sound silly in a few years, once we've spent thousands of hours in the world of Vice City and its surrounding areas, and have replayed the main storyline dozens of times, and listened to all of these smaller dialogue lines in Hangouts and Free Roam. But for now, and for when we receive the next few trailers, they sound just as plausible as all the Red Dead theories sounded back in 2017. I also want to talk about the few quote-unquote parallels that people speculated to have been implemented in the trailer for GTA 6 that resemble key moments from Red Dead Redemption 2's story and the characters from that game, which many people have interpreted as the storyline being somewhat between Red Dead 2 and GTA 5, with the wacky and over-the-top open world and the events that happen being just the environment that Lucia and Jason are trapped in and struggle to get out of. And that mostly comes from Lucia's few dialogue lines spoken to Jason.
The only way we're gonna get through this is by sticking together. Trust?
Trust.
Which does somewhat resemble basically any speech from Dutch van der Linde over the course of Red Dead 2 and even Red Dead 1. even the one from the game's intro.
Now all of you, get yourselves warm. Stay strong. Stay with me. We ain't done yet.
And not just their dialogues, but also a few clothing pieces from both of these characters. Like Dutch wearing a mostly black outfit with a red bandana, which looks very similar to Lucia's bandana, who's also seen wearing a black tank top. So the combo of their trust/fate speeches and their character design have made many people speculate about a similar storyline happening in GTA 6, but in a modern setting. Which, if true, I honestly wouldn't mind. Obviously, I don't want a carbon copy, and considering the fact that we're playing as a couple for the first time, which implies a very different dynamic between the characters. So something brand new, not just for the GTA franchise, but from Rockstar overall. Which leads me to the question asked at the beginning of the video. Can and will Rockstar pull off another Arthur Morgan in the form of Jason? Obviously, not in every aspect. Like, I'm not expecting Jason to contract TB and go on a redemption journey, especially in the wacky world of GTA, where an honor system and punishment for your bad actions isn't just nonsensical, it's outright against the core of this franchise. But it doesn't mean that either of the main characters can't have any semblance of morals and internal conflicts. We first seen it with Nico Bellic back in 2008, where despite him living in a city as awful as Liberty City, and working for and with some of the worst and unredeemable people imaginable, it didn't stop Rockstar from making him somewhat believable as a character. He did feel remorse, and is clearly scarred from the things he's witnessed from when he was fighting in the war, and his motivations have to do with his family to some extent, at least his cousin Roman, whom he really cares about and tries to scrape by a living and work towards their dream of owning mansions. He was and still is regarded as the most believable and realistic GTA protagonist in the franchise. And I'm really hoping Rockstar can change that by making either or both of GTA 6's protagonists feel believable, with actual motivations behind their actions, with internal struggles, and with inescapable fates and choices to be made, which doesn't necessarily mean for them to die or anything, but you get the point. What Rockstar managed to build with Red Dead Redemption 2 is not only one of the greatest stories ever told in gaming, and Arthur isn't just the beloved big bro of John Marston who sacrifices himself in the end for his sake, but what they did is create a legacy, and one that doesn't just throw everything in your face, but actually leaves a few things untold and up to the player's imagination, like what happened in the Blackwater Ferry, and many more smaller details about characters and their motivations, which are only hinted at but never directly told to us. Again, that's something I'd love to see in GTA 6 as well, a well-crafted and executed storyline, where the characters aren't just generic and blind maniacs that seek absolute power and money, but that have actual motivations and struggles throughout the game. So I think it's safe to assume that Rockstar won't make another Arthur, just like they didn't make another John. Both Jason and Lucia, and any other protagonist we might see in Red Dead 3, GTA 7, or any other game that might come out, won't be a carbon copy of anybody, but characters of their own, and hopefully characters that will be fondly remembered by gamers years down the line. Personally, I think Red Dead 2 served as an experiment in between GTA 5 and GTA 6, to test not just features and game mechanics, but to see how far they can go when trying to craft good characters and an amazing storyline. And honestly, they kinda nailed it. But what do you think? What are your expectations, theories, and wishes for the storyline of GTA 6? Let me know in the comment section down below. And while you're there, also leave a like. And of course, consider subscribing if you want to see more. Thank you so much for watching.